3. Hello, everyone. This is Bill Hernandez at rockbandreviews.com with another interview segment. And today I have the pleasure of speaking to Lance Hoppen, bass player in the band Orleans. Orleans will be performing in Hallandale Beach at the Sport of Kings Theater at Gulfstream Park on July 21st. Orleans is, best known for its smooth melodic pop rock and has produced timeless classics and hits like Dance With Me and Still the One, along with Love Takes Time. Now, tickets are available through most online ticket outlets and at the Gulfstream Park box office. Now, Orleans also has been very generous to give rockbandreviews.com 5 pairs of tickets to give away, and it will be available to win on our Facebook page later this week. So, hello, Lance, and thank you so much for taking time to talk with me today. It's great to have some Long Island class on the line.
Long Island. Yeah, hi, Bill. This is my pleasure. Are you a Long Island boy, too?
I'm actually from California, but spent a lot of my life, I'm 52 now, in Suffolk County. My dad had 4 delis out in Long Island back in the 70s and in Nassau County. So, yeah, I'm a little familiar with Long Island.
Yeah. The Hoppen boys grew up in Bayshore, Brentwood, Islip Town.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I used to work back in the day in a little pizzeria on Main Street in Bayshore there. So, and I used to live in a little town called Great River, which is right on the water in Islip. It's this little tiny. It's the last exit on the Saginaw Coast Parkway. So, really cool, right on the golf course. A really great area, but. Like anything else, taxes and everything got high, and since I'm from Cali, was kind of missing it, and said, Florida might be the next best thing. And I've been here since '91.
Yeah, I left Long Island to go to Woodstock to be in Orleans with my brother Larry. I was 18. That was 1972, and the family homestead was vacated mid '90s, I think, something like that. They all went to Florida. I wound up in, after Woodstock, I wound up in Nashville in '89, and I've been here ever since.
Oh, wow. Yeah, everybody ends up leaving and going somewhere else, So but it's a great place to grow up and to live. Now, it must be such a great feeling to be back on the road again after such a long hiatus.
Yeah, and, such a long, strange trip, as Jerry Garcia said.
Yes.
We're now in our 50th year as a live band. And, of course, things change. I mean, we've had, I don't know, maybe a dozen different versions of the band over time as people came and left for whatever reasons. And at this point, I'm the last man standing. John Hall came off the road in March, finally. None of us is getting any younger.
Right.
And he's living here in Nashville, too. He got remarried, instantly became a stepdad, and all things considered, he decided he should stay home. So we persist. I've got a couple of guys with me who've been here 20 and 25 years, and some relative newcomers. But in all versions, no matter what time frame, the thread of Orleans has been very consistent in our sensibilities and our structure and our vocal harmonies and double guitar. It always has been the nature of the band.
Now, do you find with all the changes over the years, is it easy to adapt to a new member coming into the band? Or do you think it's harder for them actually to adapt?
It's both.
Yeah.
If we take a quick run through history, the band was a trio, and then I joined late that same year. They started quartet, and then we started recording, made a couple albums, 3 albums, and then we added Jerry Murata. We were a quintet at the time of Still the One and such. And then John left the band in '77 to pursue his solo career and did well. He had some solo records, and he did the No Nukes project and John Hall Band, and we continued, Larry and I and Wells continued with Bob Lineback and R.A. Martin. That was 2 keyboard players, and we only had 1 guitar player at the time. So it was different. But the vocals were great, and the band was good in its own right. And then when Bob and Ari left, and then Wells left in '81, and then we had different incarnations. Maybe not our best years, but John came back in '85. We kind of Wells passed away in '84, and that
Yeah.
really triggered a memorial where John and Larry kind of buried the hatchet after 7 years, and then John, Larry, and I persisted. Sometimes it was trio, just trio. Sometimes it was with Bob Lineback with us, or later on it was Lane joined. My younger brother Lane, was in the band in the early '80s, and then came back full time in 2000. But see, so what I'm saying is that at each point, we had to pick up where we were and go forward. And
Sure.
it's not so much that the new guys didn't get it; it's that, and I've been mulling this over a lot lately. It's a matter of what you call institutional memory.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so I was just watching a special on PBS with the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, their 50th anniversary, which was several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But what was really stood out to me was that there's four guys there, four that have been in that band for 50 plus years. So they have all that communal history. They know everything, and they've done it all together. So the problem with guys coming and going of necessity is that you don't relearn everything you knew. So
Mm.
you lose stuff along the way as you add new stuff, and you keep the best of it and adapt it. So taking that full throttle to 2012 when Larry passed away suddenly,
Yeah.
Larry being my older brother and comrade in arms for 40 years, and the radio voice of Orleans as well as multi instrumentalist and songwriter. When he suddenly passed, that was a catastrophe. I mean, on all levels.
Yeah.
And all I wanted to do was finish the year, not go out with a whimper, but just finish our 40th year. And so John Hall came back. He had been in Congress a couple terms, so he was available, and some of the other alumni filled in. And we finished the year, and I thought we were done until somebody stepped up. He said to be our new manager, saying, if you want to continue, I can do this. And that turned into a tour in 2013, and here we are 10 years later. So that's the long answer to your question. We just, it's good that Lane's been in the band for 25 years. Fly Amaro, my guitar player, has been with us 20 years. But Brady, my friend Brady Spencer here in Nashville, joined us in April of 2018. So he's got some years under his belt, but he only knows what we've asked him to learn, not
Sure.
the entire catalog. And then last fall, we had to find a replacement for Fly temporarily. So Tom Lane is our newest addition, and he knows the bare minimum at this point as we move forward. And it's all so we have enough, but it's like we've forgotten more songs than most bands ever learned.
Oh, sure. Now, because you and your two brothers, did did you come from a musical family? Was your family very supportive of you going in the direction of music?
Yeah, my parents were musicians. My dad played trumpet. My mom was a fantastic singer and piano player, and they met gigging after World War II. Um, in a different world, like so we always had music in the house from day one. They're a big band, and they had combos. They were still doing gigs, even though Dad had a business to support the family. And they would play the block parties and stuff, and so that was always happening. And we were all trained, all of us, on one instrument or another. Larry and Lane were trumpet players. My dad handed me a clarinet at 8 years old, and I cried that night and played it for the next 8 years, um, because it was not my first love, but we got a lot of backing there, like basic information, training.
Sure.
And then picked up our instruments as we went and continued. So yes, they were supportive, but Larry, they sent Larry to college to have a backup plan. Sure, he wanted to be a player, but you got to have that day job thing. So he was in music education, but he didn't last very long, like a year. He dropped out twice
Mm.
before they gave up, because they were concerned that, you know, they didn't know the music business was so different from when they were doing it and continued to evolve. So when it came my time to graduate high school, they didn't insist I go to school, and I didn't go to school. I got inducted into Orleans instead. So that all changed. I mean, that trepidation, the support was always there, but with some trepidation. But when Dance with Me was a hit, well, you know, Katie barred the door. My
Mm.
mom, my mom couldn't resist being our biggest promoter. Proud as a peacock. So, so that's the nature of that.
Now, we're so happy to have Orleans back at the Sporting Kings Theater because you've played there before at Gulfstream, and I want to ask you: do you prefer to perform as a solo band, or do you like to do the tours with other bands like you've done Poco and Pure Prairie League and things like that?
The answer is both. It's not an either or.
Mm.
In Hallandale Beach, we'll be by ourselves. It's going to be, an evening with kind of thing. There's two 45-minute sets with an intermission is the way they want it. And so, I forget the size of the venue, but it's not huge, so it's more
It's
intimate.
kind of intimate. It's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, we like those. We like those situations. But the next day and the next day, we're going to Jacksonville and Clearwater, and those are the other type of shows you're talking about. It's us with Firefall and Pure Prairie League, each doing our 45-minute set, playing, all the A-list material
Sure.
in the setting to a larger crowd, and those are really good too. They're actually easier to do. Less time equals easier,
Yes.
um, and material is more familiar because you cram the absolute best of the best into that shorter time frame. Um, so anything from small clubs to huge outdoor events. I mean, 150,000 people,
Wow.
everything in between, and everything in between. I've seen it over the decades, but um, we don't do those huge things anymore. But we do 2,000, 5,000 seaters with multiple acts, and 250 to 250 seaters, performing arts centers and such, and it's all good.
Yeah. So now as a bass player, and you also play guitar as well, I heard. But what drew you to the instrument to become a longtime bass player?
Yeah, uh, I don't play guitar as well as bass. I know it's a different semantics, but
Yeah.
I do play guitar, but not as well as I play bass. Um, again, this is a Larry story. So he was prodigious. He was 2 years accelerated in school and 3 years older than me. So his peer group was 5 years older than me. So we didn't hang much. And he had garage bands that actually had gigs to do when he was a teenager, still at home. And I never saw any of them other than pictures. And then he went off to college. So the intimidation of him being around was now long distance. And he had left a guitar, or somebody left a guitar in a closet, and I picked it up and started plunking on the low E string, trying to figure it out. And I would play McCartney lines, Beatles being Beatles, probably my biggest influence, like a lot of people. And I would just pick it out and tough it out, and then I figured out, oh, this is an A string, and that relates this way, and so I just kind of slowly self-taught and gravitated to bass. It's what I just naturally just made sense for me. And later on in life, I became a guitar player of sorts. I regret not letting my mother teach me piano. That's a big regret of my life
Yeah.
because that's what she did. She taught piano. Larry played by ear, Lane plays by ear, and also study. But I never got that skill set. So yeah, I'm a bass player and I play guitar a bit and I sing and I know how to lead a band. That's what I do.
Now, are there any recordings in the quote in the vault maybe from the '70s available that might see the light of day on a future album?
Songs that were never out.
Yeah.
You mean there are? We have a disc called Obscurities that came out in, I don't know, '08 or something, and it was specifically that. It was a collection of
Hmm.
demos that never made it to masters or alternate versions of things. Um, so a lot of it lies there. Songs from the '70s and '80s, um, and there's just a wealth of live recordings of various quality for things we would do, off the cuff,
Hmm.
blues jams or um, radio shows. I think captured some songs that never made it to albums. So it's all there. It's just it's hard to find time to do the mining. To collect all these things and bring them forward. There's so many things to take care of that are urgent that some of these important good things never make it to the top of the list.
Hmm. So now, if I could look at the playlist on your phone, what would be the maybe the top three bands you're listening to right now?
Uh, when people ask me what do you listen to, it's like you'd be surprised. I kind of uh, I don't listen to much. I like silence a lot.
Mm. That
Not
makes
like
sense. No, absolutely.
we get so much music or have to put out so much music or think music or do music. You know, it's not like a lot of people just have Spotify play through their house all day long. No, that's not it around here. I never listen to the radio in the car. I never do it.
Mm.
So, uh, but what I do listen to often is what I have to know how to play next because Orleans is not the only thing I do. I work with other acts. Several times a year, I lead. I'm music director on multi-act shows, and I'm talking not three acts like three bands. I'm talking one band where I'm the band leader, and everybody in the band is world class. And then we back up. We've done over 100 and maybe 150 name acts over the past decade for these clients. These big shows. Everything from the singers from anything from Def Leppard to the Four Tops to to Goo Goo Dolls to Motley Crue
Oh
to
wow.
Billy Ocean. I mean, you name it, we've done it. And so that to me is very interesting and takes a lot of prep time to learn my own stuff as well as organize the bands to do these shows. So
Sure.
Orleans is the backbone and the centerpiece of my triumph my what do they call it my three-legged stool.
Oh yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's a consistent thing through the decades. But these other things also are a part of my career.
Wonderful. So you stay really busy.
It hasn't been as busy, and you mentioned that right early on about the layoff, right?
Yeah.
So in 2019, I was at the top of my game. I was not only doing Orleans, I was doing these major big league shows. I was playing for Felix Cavalier's Rascals as the sub bass player. I was doing filling in Firefall
Mm.
for Mark Andes when he needed a hip replacement. I was doing an Elton John tribute band in Nashville a couple of guys and I had, and playing at church every Sunday. So I was firing on all cylinders, and then COVID hit, and that just took the wind out of everybody's sails. Like,
Yes.
what do we do? I thought 90 days, okay, we're back up and running. Well, that turned out to be way, way wrong. And so we had to adapt, like everybody else. Orleans at that point, myself, John Hall, Fly, Lane, and Brady, we made some YouTube productions. We all learned how to record at our own houses, and they call remote recording, both audio and video, and then put these things together to post in social media. And then in 2021, we undertook making a Christmas holidays album, a Christmas album,
Yes, yes.
by the same methodology, and gathered songs from here and there. And it's not your traditional, Jingle Bells version. It's not that. It's all original music, um, for the most part, and some from outside, some from inside. And so that took the first half of the year to do, and then finally we got to play live starting June of 21. But yeah, I have to tell you, I don't feel, even after a year now, schedule's been very spotty. So it's good to be working, but it's not like we're working a lot. And I just don't feel like, it's like a use it or lose it thing. So I don't have, I'm not firing on cylinders the way I was in 2019, but that doesn't mean we're not making it happen. It's just like, for a singer, it's like top of the range is maybe the first thing to go, and a half step makes a difference in what you can do. So I guess I'm maybe speaking the quiet part out loud and telling you my weaknesses, but I'm just being honest here. Like,
Yeah.
None of us is getting any younger, and the layoff definitely took some wind out of the sails. On the other hand, I will say this: with Larry's passing in 2012, he being the voice of the band, that everyone loved, it was really challenging to fill his shoes because it's not really doable. You can't really replace him. No. What we had to do is figure out how do we adapt to these things that we have to continue to play and want to. Still, the One Dance with Me Love Takes Time, for example. And what do we get rid of that we just can't do anymore? And then what else do we do? So between all of us, we all had to grow a lot, including me, stepping up to sing these things. Still, the One Fly wound up being the lead singer of it, but he gets a lot of help from Lane once the chorus comes, and then once the bridge comes, I'm singing the highest thing, and in falsetto, not full voice like Larry. So that's how we divvied up Still a One to make it work. And Love Takes Time, for me, really, really, really challenging. It's a very difficult song to sing, especially the way he sang it, because we haven't changed the keys or anything.
Oh, okay. But
I had to adapt it to, the realities of my voice, and enlist the other guys, background-wise, to fill in some gaps. So that's what we're talking about. When you lose a guy or you gain a guy, this is the process that goes on to maintain the integrity and the reputation and such. I never want to go out as Orleans and not be proud of what we put out.
Well, that's what we want to hear. Lance, it's just been an honor and a pleasure to speak with you today. And let's remind everyone that Orleans will be performing in Hallandale Beach at the Sport of Kings Theater at Gulfstream Park on July 21st. And Orleans has given us 5 pairs of tickets to give away. We'll be having that set up at the end of the week on our Rock Band Reviews Facebook page. And, man, I look forward to seeing you guys. Grew up on your music. Never seen you guys play live, so I'm very excited. And we'll be there front and center.
Sounds good, Bill. As I say to those who have often start a show of hands, who's never seen the band? Of course, a lot of hands go up. And my retort is, good thing you didn't wait a whole lot longer.
Exactly. We don't need another pandemic to shut everything down, so we're going to come out and check you out.
Sounds good, Bill. We'll hope to see your listeners there as well.
All right, great. And we like to support a lot of charities, so the one we're doing now is Disabled American Veterans. We're wondering if we bring a drumhead, if the band would be able to sign it, and we're going to donate it to them.
Absolutely, no problem.
Wonderful. We'll see you at the show, and safe travels on the road, guys.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.